So, next question is, how do you work around a doc that isn't taking a client's need for a hormone panel seriously? Um, so this has happened many, many times uh, throughout my career of helping both women and men with hormonal issues. Um, I will typically give them a panel, so like a full panel, and they'll, bring it to their doctor, and we can see resistance there. Why? You know, it could sometimes the doctor is like burnt out. He doesn't want to do extra work. I truly don't really know why there's so much resistance with this, but how I work about it with my clients is like, I'm basically their advocate. So I will, if the doctor isn't, say we want thyroid pulled, right? But they're only pulling TSH, or they're only pulling TSH and T4, ask them why. Why won't you pull? They'll give you an answer. Then the client will typically come back to me, and then we kind of go back and forth like that. But if the doctor continues to just decline and not pull the labs, I move on. We look for another doctor who will. I've had this like with my mom recently. It was like pulling teeth, trying to get her doctor to pull downstream thyroid hormones. So typically where I send my clients is on the functional med, like homeopathic endocrinologist type doctor, because typically they are going to pull a full panel. So at this point, like you can kind of go back and forth. You can ask them, okay, if you're declining pulling these labs, can you please write that in the records? And typically they're not going to want to do that. So sometimes they'll pull it. If they don't, we move on. The functional med / alternative type of doctors, they're gonna pull. It's something you have to be like really like you have to do your homework on and be careful with, because like there's the Western medicine that they'll push meds, things like that, right? And then there's also like the alternative medicine or Eastern side of things that will like really push supplements, right? So you really want to try and find someone who is kind of in the middle and isn't super biased to either side. And that's what I typically do, with my clients, is trying to find a doctor who's in the middle there that will pull all the labs and look at everything. And then from there say, okay, do you potentially need medication? Some people do, right? Some people do need to go on thyroid meds. Or can we supplement with something, look at lifestyle, etc., for a time being, and see if we can fix the issue that way. I had a client where she was having a lot of issues, symptoms arising of like thyroid issues. And it was years of this. And she would go to doctors, her TSH, this is an example. So her TSH was normal. So the doctors would not pull more labs, but there's a problem there. Okay. So we can have a normal TSH, but our T4 is not converting to T3 well. And that can show as hypothyroid, but we can still have a normal TSH. So now it's being missed, right? So someone has a thyroid issue, but it's for all of these years is being missed because we can't get the doctor to pull further labs. So that, again, now we can go even further with like thyroid, where they're testing antibodies. And this is what happened with this client. So I sent her the whole, the breakdown of what I wanted her to get tested. They tested everything, including the antibodies, and she actually had Hashimoto's. So she was dealing with this for years, and the doctors were just telling her nothing was wrong, until I sent her to more of a functional med doc who would actually pull these right away. And we found that right away. And we started to, get after it and, try and fix some of her issues. But there's not a whole lot you can do other than like asking why they're not pulling it. If they don't pull it, ask them to log that in the records. Typically they don't want to do that, so they will end up pulling it. And then if there's just resistance, the resistance continues, move on to another doctor. And like I said, there's definitely good Western medicine doctors that will pull it. I've seen it. I've had it with clients. I'm like, and honestly, it shocks me because there's not a whole lot, if I'm being honest, but there is some. And so I'm not, just attacking all these Western medicine doctors, because I'm not. They have their place, and some will absolutely do that. But if they're not, I would just go over to like more of the functional med alternative side and get it done that way. That was really long-winded, but I did want to give an example of how this can happen, right? It's just, it happens often.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to break that one down in more detail, because honestly, like this is one that we have had a list of like things we want to talk about. This one's been on there for a while. Like, it's also not that, we're against doctors. Like you said, they're great and there's a place for them and we need them, right? And honestly, like for the local clients I have, or, I'd love to have like a local person I could actually be in touch with, because this is where that could be a great collaboration, like having your doctor and possibly having a coach. Like, look, we're no doctors, like we can't like treat, conditions and stuff. However, we can help you on the nutrition and lifestyle side of things, which really is in many cases often, the root cause of a lot of conditions. Now, we're also there to be on your team to kind of push you to kind of like figure things out, because I've had the same exact thing, a client of mine at the moment just had her blood work done, and she's had her blood work done like every couple of months for a while because she had one of her thyroid glands removed. And also same thing, I think it was only T4 and TSH. It's like, okay, cool. Well, we actually don't really know what's going on now. So now she's kind of like asking more and asking more. But the answer she got was, yeah, well, we're just testing what's important right now. That was it. And
yeah, I really like, okay, don't understand it.
No, like, I really wonder why that's the case, because I do understand, because I have some friends who are doctors too, but like, I understand from a time perspective, like we invest more time in our clients than a doctor has with a patient, because they only have their 15 minutes. You come in, and I 100% respect that and understand, because they're often overworked, etc. However, there needs to be like a solution, you know what I mean? And I really like that you actually, figured it out with that client, and you actually found someone who could help, etc. And that's really what you want to do. And that really comes down back to that trying. You got to keep trying, because sometimes it takes a little while to figure it out.
Yeah, it does.
Actually, I had an application from someone who just finished a med school who's going to become a doctor, who asked me, hey, like, the main reason I would like to do this, or there's really two reasons, is first of all, I would like to lose some weight. But then second, I'd like to learn more about nutrition, because we didn't get that much in school. And I'd like to see how I could maybe apply some of that to my clients or my patients in the future. So you see, like, right. That's what I mean. Like, they often don't really know, and that's okay. Right. Can't be a specialist in everything.
Right, yeah. like also comes with MDs are not specialized in hormones.
No, or nutrition.
If I'm correct, and what I've heard from doctors is that they get about like an hour course on nutrition.
Yeah, which, mean, you know,
and you know, when I'm working with clients like this, hormonal issues, all that being said, yeah, I can definitely help people with that. But most of the time, it's me, the client, and their doctor, and we're all working together.
Yeah.
But usually, those doctors are on the functional med side of things because they're willing, like they look at the whole body as a whole, right? They typically are trying to get to the root cause of the issue versus, you know, putting a band-aid over something, right? And that's why I go there. But again, like I said, the best kind of doctors, in my opinion, are the ones that are in the middle. They are not biased to the Western. They are not biased to the Eastern. They will use supplements and lifestyle when they can, but if you absolutely need a medication, they will put you on a medication. Like that's where I believe the magic is.
For sure. I love that.